Hello and welcome, my name is Ajaxpost and today we're going to take a quick look at how to deal with one of the most terrifying situations you might ever face in Transport Fever 2. The day that a mod goes missing. As I was about to start the latest episode in my long-running Let's Play series for Transport Fever 2, episode 44 I think it was, I saw this. The dreaded red exclamation mark, meaning the mod has gone missing. Now this can either be because the author, the creator of the mod, has taken it down, either accidentally, as in fact happened in this particular case for the Road Toolbox, or it's been taken down due to copyright or some other kind of dispute issues. But what this red triangle here means is that the start button is no longer available. My save game is now lost. Or so I thought, but that's not actually the case. What you can do here is go into select options, find that broken mod in all the multiple hundreds, you may have hundreds of enabled mods, and disable it. Now the problem here is that when I looked through this, having seen that first red triangle of terror, I didn't spot that mod. I thought, I can't get rid of it. The guidance on the workshop page, because the creator of the mod had realised they'd made a mistake and re-uploaded a new version of the mod, so you couldn't use the old one, that you could just disable it and carry on with your game. And I thought, I can't find it. One very quick, very simple way of finding any mods that are broken is to change the sort order of this mod list. So let's go back for a second. We're here, we're about to load our save game. We see that triangle of terror. We cannot start. So let's go into select options. I cannot find it. Where is it? I changed the sort order of my mod list to name order. And because of the way Transport Fever 2 mod interface works, it very helpfully puts these broken mods, these missing mods, at the top of this list. All I need to do is disable the mod. And I can then carry on my game as if nothing had happened. Look, the start button is back. My game is safe. And the bells ring out across the land. However, while we're here, this is all good. That is the essence of this tutorial. But let's take a moment to look a little bit deeper at what's going on. And to do that, I'll go back to one of my older saves and see what actually happens when you disable a mod that you actually have been using in your game. So let's go back, way back, almost a year now, when I was playing the early stages of this Let's Play series, episode number 6, and if I wanted to bring that save back to life, I would notice here I've got 4 red triangles. This is either because I have unsubscribed from these mods, I'm no longer using them in my game, or they have been taken off the Steam Workshop for whatever reason. So let's go back into that. I cannot start this old save game. I go into select options. In this case, I've only got 30 plus mods enabled, so it's fairly easy to see them in this list. But let's get them back into name order, so they're all nicely clustered at the top of this list. Let's take them all out from that game. Now what I'm going to do here is actually deliberately disable some other mods that I am using which are still available to me. So let's have a look at those. Which ones do I want to take out, just to show you something curious about the way Transport Fever 2 handles missing mods. So let's take out the rural bus stops, and there's another one to do with generic station modules, I think it was, this one here. Okay, now I have knowingly used both those mods to create bus stops and modded train stations. I've also actually used 1 or 2 of the locomotives that were in those earlier mods I have just disabled. So let's crack on and load that old save game. Here we are, my save game has loaded. It's an old save game and I have deliberately disabled a number of mods that I know I am using in this game. Now I am not going to say this will happen for every mod that you disable. Some mods are more intricate, more complex, but Urban Games have obviously taken on board the frustration that many players have suffered from the earlier games, Train Fever and Transport Fever 1, where a missing mod was actually the end of the story for your game. Unless a modder or someone in the modding community was able to provide a fix for that, and a number of them were fixed. A number of missing mods were fixed in Transport Fever 1, and there was some great engagement with the modding community to help people save their games. But it looks as if Urban Games has taken all that on board and provided us a lovely little get-out mechanism for when mods go missing. So let's have a look. One of the first things in this game, one of the mods that was really missing, was a locomotive, a series of locomotive mods. And what's happened to the train? The mod has gone missing, the locomotive has gone missing, but we have this delightful little missing asset box. Now, trying to take our train down this track at a particularly slow speed, 2 miles an hour. This poor driver is hauling our passengers from Bristol all the way to Twerton or wherever it is they're going. Now, you can, of course, manage this vehicle. So if I try to edit that vehicle, I can remove this purple block here. And can I put a different vehicle on there? I can't because I don't have enough money. So can I replace that? Yes, I can. And there it is. A locomotive back up to speed. So a simple locomotive asset is replaced by a little missing blob box, so that your game still functions. What about those rural bus stops that I had? Here they are. Oops. Yep, they're missing. I still have passengers waiting to catch a bus at this stop, but the actual bus stop itself has gone bye-bye. So it's a matter of finding those in the game. Unfortunately, obviously, this is more difficult because there's no clear indication, like there was on the vehicle list. If I call my trains up here, where I might have a missing mod, we get this purple, I have no idea what to put here kind of symbol. So that will be a matter of going through the map as you play and discovering that some asset mods, bus stops and the like, are missing. So that was a simple bus stop, but what about a more complex beast like a full railway station? And there it is. We have people hovering around in mid-air, but the station is still functional, which is the important thing. So once again, we have the opportunity to get into our game to replace this with either a vanilla base game station or another mod, which is still available to us, and replace that. One little caveat on this is if I try and configure the station, I can try and delete things, but it deletes the entire station effectively when I try to remove this mod, which is fair enough because the whole thing is broken. Every part of it is unavailable apart from the actual track, obviously, which I can't. Whoa! I didn't expect that to happen. I've obviously not tried this out. So what's that telling me? Yeah, there are problems on that particular line because the station's gone missing. Yeah, so don't try and edit it, just replace it. Oops. So ignoring that little problem there, what we can say here at this point is if you are using the Steam Workshop to get your mods for Transport Fever 2, and if any of them go missing because you've unsubscribed or because they have been removed from the workshop itself for whatever reason, Transport Fever 2 will allow you to continue your save games, but you do need to deactivate, whichever term you want to use, those mods when you load the game. Let's have a quick look then at any alternative methods you might have of recovering your game in this situation. When it comes to most programs, and that includes computer games, what a lot of experts will say to you is always have a backup. And that is as true in Transport Fever 2 and with workshop mods as with any other significant program which uses data. The issue we have here, there are a couple. Let's take a look at the first issue with this. So let's have a check first where our mods are actually stored when we download them from Steam. So your mods are going to be stored in your main Steam programs, your Steam games folder, under Steam Apps, Workshop, Content, and then the game ID. You can get the game ID fairly easily, if you're not familiar with it, from your games folder or your games directory. Just by hovering over the icon, it tells you there what the game ID is in Steam. As you can see here for Transport Fever 2, it is 1066780. So we can use that to find that particular folder in our Steam Workshop content directory. If you're making a backup of all your workshop content or your workshop mods, then you need a backup of either the individual folder for the game, or what might make more sense, depending on how trustworthy the games are and the mod creators are and Steam is and so on, you might want the entire workshop folder. One slight issue you need to be aware of there is that some mods can be enormous, and if you're in the habit of collecting mods, you could have a significant amount of disk space allocated to them. So let's just check how much I've already downloaded in the 450 plus mods that I've acquired for Transport Fever 2. Over 46 gigabytes of workshop content. Disk space is cheap, they say, but if you're storing a lot of this and your video recordings or anything else that you're doing which requires a lot of data, then yeah, you do need to bear in mind that you will require a fair amount of space for your backup of the workshop content. The other issue here, of course, is that you back all this up, Steam decides to remove a mod, you unsubscribe for it, or whatever reason it is disappeared from your game, so you go to your backup folder and you find the missing mod. You can either restore the whole folder you've got here, or you can recover that individual mod folder. Now, how do you know what the mod is that is missing? You need to be able to identify the mod ID, and the one way of doing that within the game is simply click on the Steam icon here to find the ID of that mod. Let's have a look at those that I have got enabled. So let's take a look at this DX Goods locomotive I've got here. Go into the workshop and I can see, yeah, that is the mod, and here's the mod ID highlighted here, 19410455577. Now that's for a mod that I'm still subscribed to that still exists on Steam. What if I'm trying to look up a mod which has been either removed from Steam or I've unsubscribed from? Let's do that again. Let's check in the Steam Workshop ID here. Oops, there's a problem. The item has gone missing, but it's still trying to look it up with the Steam ID. So I can find that here at the top, 193636286. So what we could do then is restore all of these mods from my backup. So I restore them here, and of course when I now try and load the game, what Steam will do is it will try and verify that the content I have in my Steam content folder does actually still exist on Steam. And if the mod has been removed from the workshop, Steam will automatically remove it from your local copy as well. So having a backup is not necessarily the saviour in this instance, because as soon as you connect to Steam, Steam will attempt to validate your content, and if it is no longer on the workshop, it will take it away again. So what you could do perhaps is take yourself offline, disconnect from the internet while you want to play the game or sort out any issues you've got with that particular mod, and the mod should still be there. I've tried it with certain games where I've tried to avoid getting an update, and simply taking myself offline, either by disconnecting the internet entirely, which can be a bit reckless, or simply turning Steam into offline mode will do the trick. It won't validate that game or that content. So that's one way of doing it. But a better way might be to actually create your own local store of these mods. Now, if they're in this Steam apps folder, then they are effectively managed by the Steam program itself and always validated against what's currently enabled or active in the workshop itself in the Steam database. If you want to create your own local copy, then you can do that by moving or copying your folders, your workshop folders, into your local store, which is again in your Steam folder on your wherever you've installed it, under your ID, but this time under user data as opposed to Steam apps. So what we could do here is I want to create a backup of my workshop content. Now let's just try that with one particular mod here, which I've just tested to make sure this does actually work. So let's find this folder. So this is the ID of the mod that I'm concerned about, which I've just found by looking up in the workshop, either through the game or directly through the Steam interface. So let's copy that into my local folder here. Now the thing here is we now have two mods, a Steam validated mod and also my local copy of that, and they've got the same ID. Steam will not like that, the game will not like that, and you will generally still only ever see the one in the Steam app, not your local copy. So to ensure that your local copy is the one that is used, the accepted practice is to simply modify the name of the folder by adding something like a _1 to the end of it, or _2 or _3 if you want different versions. Because that's the problem with keeping your own local copy of these mods. They are not automatically updated by Steam. So if you're happy to run with the version you've got, or to manually check when your mods are updated and updating your local copy, that's fine. But a local copy is not automatically updated by Steam itself. Okay, so what's going on here? I now have a copy of this mod in Steam properly, the remote managed copy. And I have my own local copy, which I've just changed the name of ever so slightly. So let's see what that looks like in Transport Fever 2 itself. Okay, so we're back in the game. We're about to load our old save game, which is broken because of this red triangle of terror, meaning these mods are no longer available to me. If we go into select options to see what's going on here, I can disable these mods if I wish to. But the thing I'm interested in here is this mod here, DX Goods Locomotive, for which I've actually got a local copy. How do I know which is my local copy? That's easy, because they are identified differently on this source column. So if we sort them here by source, we can see here we have one which has the up pointing finger. If you hover over it, as it says, that is a user mod as opposed to a Steam Workshop mod. So this is your local copy of that LNWR DX Goods. So if I can I sort it by that? I can indeed. So one way of safeguarding your game against mods going missing from the workshop is to copy them all into the user mods folder. Safest thing to do is change their name to add that _1 or something to the end of the folder name, and then they will appear in your mod list as user mods with this pointy finger icon, and I can then take you away and put you on there. Let's see what happens if I put that in the game. Okay, so what I've done is I have enabled the user mod version of the DX Loco and actually disabled the Steam Workshop version. So if we come to modify our vehicle here again, and there it is. It looks no different to the standard Steam Workshop mod. So that's the alternative. Remembering that this will not, if the creator updates this mod, that will not be automatically updated if you're using the one in your local user mod folder. So that's basically it, I think, how to safeguard your game against the red triangle of terror, the missing Steam Workshop mod. It's simply a matter of making sure that if your game is affected by that, you can go in here to select the options you're using. Ideally, change the sort order to name, and that way any problem mods will be highlighted at the top of this list, and you simply disable them, and you'll then get the missing object icon in the game, and you just need to replace that with something which is actually still on your toolbox. Alternatively, simply move all your workshop mods out of the Steam folder and put them into a user folder here, and you can enable them this way. The only obviously deficit of this mechanism is the lack of updates and the fact that you can't then connect into the workshop to find your mod is missing. A final word about a complete alternative to all this, and that is to use non-Steam workshop mods. And that is going to transportfever.net and using that very substantial database of mods and collect them from there and install them in the game as well. Again, they'll actually be loaded in the user local mods folder, so they will appear with this same icon. Again, you'll have the same issue that you'll need to go back to the website transportfever.net to get any updates to that, but there is in fact a Transport Fever mod management tool which I will link to in the description below, so if you want to use that as an alternative to this whole risky business of Steam Workshop mods, then you can investigate and perhaps use that, see what's available there. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, it'd be great to hear from you. A like would be lovely. Just click on the old thumbs up button. I'm not an expert on this, I'm not a mod creator, and there may be some things I have sketched over, or there may be some nuances that I've not disclosed here because I'm unaware of them, or if there's any mechanisms that you think would also be useful to players of Transport Fever 2 in recovering their save games from the Red Triangle of Terror, then please do drop a note into the comments section below. That'd be great, be awesome to hear from you. And of course, if you've not already subscribed to the channel, you could do that now, and that way you'll know when I upload any more of these videos, which I don't do tutorials that often, but generally Let's Plays. But if you want to keep track of what I'm doing, then please do subscribe to the channel using the button below. But from me, Ajaxpost, here in Transport Fever 2, until the next time, bye bye for now.